Okay, it should be all set now. I don't know what happened. But it should be alright. Um, alright, I'm just gonna transition this over and then come down here and then we can open this. Yeah, I think everything is like bugging out. Here, and you start. There you go, start. Good program. Da, 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 da. Hate when that's one this is. Um, yeah. I'm pretty sure all I'm gonna be able to get done tonight is testing stuff and making sure it's all set up properly, ready for tomorrow when I'm gonna import the map and start working on the AI. Hello. Um, alright. Now that everything's functioning properly, let's get to it, shall we? Gotta say, quite embarrassing that my computer decides that it's gonna screw me over as soon as I'm live in front of my client doing work. That's just my luck in a nutshell right there. Like, come on. Oh wow, it even saved the tab I was in. That's crazy. Well, what I need to do, first off, so the shaders don't crash anything, I need to go here, and I need to go here. There's no shaders to crash the thing if there's no shaders functioning. But yeah, we'll go here. Then we'll go here. Then I'll go here. Hopefully, my computer doesn't blow up this time. First things first, with any money I get, I'm gonna try to buy a new laptop, sell this one, because this just ain't fun when it's doing this to me. But anyway, security monitor, check. Now that we imported the security monitor, the level file has changed, so I can save it, and then I will save it as test_map. You can't use spaces when you're naming files, so you have to use underscores if you want to separate words. So that's what I'll do, and I'll save it in this main folder here so that it has easy access, because I will be testing a lot of things. So now that I have the security monitor right here, I can go into my content drawer and I can select the security cam. This is what I was trying to do before. Things up a little bit, and then just as an example, take a simple shape like, say, cube. Oh, let's go. All right, I forgot. I have to do like math in order to figure out where the cursor is, because for some reason when I'm streaming, it blocks my cursor out in the viewport. It is the weirdest glitch on the planet. It's only in the viewport, which, my luck, of course, is where I do everything, like, important, so. But anyway, now, make sure it's all the way down. Yeah. Save this just in case, and now we can play. So, as you can see here, we have the security camera doing its thing, and then we can, oh, right, control. Turn this on. Oh, right, I didn't link it. My bad. I'll go over this. Oh, that's the floor. There we go, click on that. Make sure it's on, as a matter of fact. Oh, look at that, beautiful. And then we have to connect the cameras. Security cam. See, look at that. Now we go to play mode. Come over here. You can see on the camera, which is right there, just scanning the environment, and you can see the cube, which is right here. I wonder if I can see myself. No. Well, that makes sense. Player is invisible. But for example, if I went here, and then I went into blueprints, core, I go to core and character. Then we take this character and we throw a mesh in it, because really all a character is it's a specific class of code. So what it does is it has basic functioning right here, and it's kind of like puzzle pieces. So in the system, it has this big block, and this big block has a bunch of logic in it, and that logic is contextualized in the editor as character. So anything that revolves around a character, like movement, gravity, all of that stuff, that would be over here, because these are all the parameters inside the block that's considered character. And then what Epic Games does is they throw it to a graphics pipeline, which transfers to GPU, which communicates with your CPU to tell the computer what to display and what it is. But anyway, if we go into viewport, this is everything that makes up the character. And if we throw something, for instance, as simple as, say, cylinder, then we click just to have it in here. We're really just testing stuff, and I'm teaching you. Really, this viewport too? You gotta be pulling my leg. Anyway, so we throw that in there, and we compile it, and then we come into the test map, and see, now that I have a cylinder, you can see on here that the camera's still working, it's functioning, and you can see the cylinder moving around on the camera over there. I come over here, see, it's kind of small, but I'm pretty sure you can see it. So it is registering everything live. So I can go back in here, right here, and then just delete that. Save again, compile, we'll head back into the main view. So now we figured that out, that the camera's working. We can start working on interactions. So in what you sent me for the brief, you want to have more of an avoidance factor, and I tied that to enemy isolation. You agreed with me. So for that kind of game, considering the story is you're a factory worker, and on an eventful night the AI goes rogue, there should probably be like production puzzles. Like, say for example, you walk into a room that's full of boxes and you have to figure out like electrical wiring to get conveyor belts to start moving to get all the boxes out of the way. That could be cool. I think if I go here, and go here, doors and furniture. Yeah, there's a bunch of different doors and stuff, but I want a specific door. Whatever that may be, right here, E-door. So what this E-door is just a giant electrical brick, basically. And you can set this up to pretty much anything. So then we'll go back into the controller. Alright, yeah, take your time. And then go to, we'll say, let's go to electronics. Oh, it's just in there. Controllers. Yeah, we'll say button. Is a button so small? No, E. I clicked everything but the one I want. 180. I'm bringing this forward. So we say, for example, that. Oh wait, I forgot to link them. Crap. And then do is go here, here, here. So that should work. If not, I have a solution. It's just a little long way. There we go. Look at that. Pretty cool. Go back to it. And it goes down. And it can also be transferred midway. So considering the architecture of the door, which I can change, I'll probably switch it with some more like, for example, like a shutter, like one of those big garage like chain shutters that come down on like the outside of stores. So there could be rooms blocked off, right? And then you'll have like a whole puzzle where you have to like figure out certain circuits or like different paths. Or it could be as simple as you need to find a key, and then you bring that key over to a control bay. You turn it on, and then you can activate the door from the control bay. Click it, and it goes up, and you can walk right under it. Pretty cool. Anyway, so yeah, that's a thing. And then we can use these security cameras. Actually, no, I'll leave that in there. So that's another test thing. So we got the security cameras, and then we have the doors and the locks, the buttons and stuff. So let's say, for example, you want to set up a puzzle and whatnot, and then in that puzzle, you want this button to be disabled until you say find another button, right? So let me just, here's my mouse, there it is, bring it over, turn off snapping. Get over, click right there. Oh, you're so fast. Bring it back, flush with the door. There we go. Save that. And then you can see that you can turn the button on or off, right? So if we turn it off, oh, that's just pressing it. I can disable it though. So we go here, here. So what this is a whole array system. And what the engine does is it uses a kind of chain system. So it looks in here and sees what the asset is, and then it looks through all of these parameters and sees what it wants me to do with them. So for this example, we'll say that this event gets activated on begin play after one time, to once, and then you go environment, actor interaction, off. So we'll shut it off. And then actors interact with itself. So in the beginning of play, it should disable the button. So when I click play, does it? Nope, didn't work. That's really fun to do for something. Alright, well, let's think of a different example, because I'm really figuring that out right now. Say, oh, I'll show you how to do something with the player. So, right, we have the button, click the button, the door opens, great. But what if I want the player to look a specific direction or make a specific sound, like say something specific? Well, this whole system has a way to do that. So what I can do is, let's say once you click the button and open the door, you want the player to say, I need to hide, for example. So we'll go subtitles, add sequence, we'll add one to the array, and then we'll go into the index, and then we'll come here and we'll add the subtype. And we'll go in here, and I'll pull this out a little bit so you can see what I'm doing. So we have the subtitle text. For this example, we'll say, I need to hide. So what it'll normally do is it'll take the subtitle and only put it on the screen as long as the sound is. But since we don't have a sound to put in there, we can use this modified duration section, and we can set it to whatever we want so that this will be on screen for as long as I set this number to. For this example, we'll do 3 seconds. And then that should be fine. So when you click the button, which we have to do with here, which one is it? Try that one. I think that might be it. So when you click the button and turn it on one time, then it'll do the subtitle, in theory. So, oh yeah, you can also lean. I forgot about that. That would be useful in the game. Anyway, come here. There we go. See, subtitle pops up. Lasts 3 seconds, and it only does it once. So even if I click it again, it won't do it again. Pretty cool. Then you can just mosey on through the door and hide in your very, very secure hiding spot. Right here. They'll never find me here. So that works fine. I don't know what that audio bug is. I'll have to look into that, but I think it might be triggering the audio file more than once every time. Which, I mean, isn't the end of the world. Honestly, it just makes the mechanics sound jankier, which in this situation would be a good thing, considering the theme of the game. So maybe I won't fix it. Maybe I'll leave it as a feature. But I guess we'll have to wait and see. Regardless, now that I've demonstrated that, I'll just leave that in there. It's fine. Not like I'll actually be using this in the game anyway. But now that I've demonstrated that. So we got security monitor, and we have the security camera, we have the door, and we have a button to open the door. And then I've showed you what we can do with the button and all the different things we can interact with, or well, some of them, and how it could all tie together in the actual game, right? So with all of this in mind, let's start brainstorming specific scenarios that could potentially be in the game. I was already doing it a little bit earlier with all of the, like, oh, the boxes and the keys and whatnot. But, you know. So there could be, let's take a look at the map. Let's take a look at the map. It'd be easier to look it up on here. I might have to sign in again. Yep. It's fine, just asks if it's me. Yep. What happened to Elon Musk? Oh no. Anyway. There we go. Now I go here. And then factory. And we look at this. So looking at this whole thing, right? There is a lot of stuff. Like a lot. Which this is actually the perfect environment for the game. As long as I make like a night scene and whatnot. Just make it all dark. Which I can totally do. That will not be an issue. But looking at this, I could see a scenario where the AI has gotten into these robotic arm things, right? And the robotic arm things, instead of trying to build stuff, are actively aiming for you as you're running by them. So what you need to do in order to get out of that room is you have to find a control panel in one of these like upper balconies, right? Let's see if I can find one of the photos. I think this is it. No. Okay, like for example, in one of these upper balconies here, like one of these walkways or like catways or whatnot. So you have to go up here and you have to find, say, a note, and in that note, it'll be from one of the previous employees talking to another one, we'll say, or maybe it could be on like an email on like a computer, right? So you read it and it'll say like, hey, so and so, I left the keys, the control panel in the control room, for example, right? So, hey, I left the keys in the control room. If you ever need them, they're in the third drawer from the left under the desk, right? So, as the player, you go up there and you read that, and then you have to figure out how to get into the control room without being spotted. So, we'll say if the note was like over here, you have to figure out how to get down, and then you have to make your way all the way over, and then you have to go up these stairs inside the control room, and then you have to find the third door down to the left, which in that room, your left would be our right, so it'd be over here. It'll be like somewhere right there. And then you take that, and you would have this taken all the way back down, all the way over, all the way back up and around, and then we'll say the control panel to shut them off is here, back where you started. That's why you found the note there. Makes sense. So then you would have to get all the way back without being spotted, and then you could turn the key, and then you could shut off these robots and make it out of that area. Now, sure, it's kind of bare bones, but it gets the point across what I'm trying to make. But yeah, this map looks really good, especially like this one. This picture looks cool. I think I paid like 70 bucks for it. I got it on sale. It's only 200, I think. So that's nice. So I do have the license for it. I did purchase the standard license, I think. Yeah. So I can redistribute because there's like a basic license, a standard license, and a professional license for the corporations and stuff that make over like 100 grand a year. I mean, I'm making like a couple $100 if I'm lucky. But, you know, I ain't no 100 grand, so I'm fine. Oh, and it allows usage with AI. Me personally, I don't really like AI all that much, but you know. Oh wow, look at that. All this good stuff. Make an awesome map with this. I love the fact that it's modular. Oh, it has all these like truck models too. I don't think I'll throw those in there, but at least I have them, I guess. Um, all the zone signs. That'll be useful for segmenting off certain areas of the game. So like as you progress, you have to get through like specific zones, and each zone is more intense than the last one. And then you'll have like different scenarios where you have to go back to previous zones to grab something that was previously locked and then bring that into like say zone 5 for example. So from zone 5 there's a lock, and the key to it is back in zone 2. Of course there'll be like context clues and prompts and like stuff to guide the player, but let's say for example it's in zone 2. So the player would have to go all the way back to zone 2 just to grab the key while trying to avoid the robots, and then go back up to zone 5 in order to unlock the door and continue. And that'd be interesting. And of course, I'm not going to just make it like, one of the original Resident Evils where that's your only goal. What I'll do is I'll set up a trigger that only applies when you're on your way back for the second time, and it will cause something to go wrong or something to switch up, and like maybe something will break and knock something over, or like an assembly line would kick something off and that would cause a chain reaction. The point is it would alter the map. So there's like new routes and new enemy locations and certain areas you have to avoid to get back to the key and then make it all the way back. And even then I might switch it up some more just to, be like, haha, yeah, try to get through this one. But yeah, I really do like this asset pack. I'm glad I have it. I never thought that $70 would come in so useful. So that's the thing. I think I will start prototyping a level. That's what we'll do. We'll prototype a level. So we'll just use boxes. So take this cube. Oh, you know what? It'll be even more interesting. This, because you can't have a level, right? You can't have a completed level without AI. So I'll set up bare bones AI and then I'll add to it over time. So I need to go to volumes and do this one. And then I do P, right? And what this does is, you see this box here? That's called a nav mesh volume. So what this shape does, this box, is whatever the box is touching, it'll check if it's a ground floor that can be maneuverable by AI or if it's a wall. So like as you see here, the box isn't above this box, right? And there's no feasible way to get from here up to here without jumping, which AI doesn't do unless programmed. So what it'll do is it'll say, okay, this box is elevated, this one isn't. I'll put the available walking distance here and save it from here. Now we'll say, for instance, if I took this box and I moved it down, right? If I move it down just enough, and then I come over here and I click on the nav mesh volume, and I go to scale it, right? I scale it, it goes over the box. See? But then if I were to go back to the box and then bring it up, if I can find where it is, stupid mouse glitch. Oh, right here. If I bring it up, builds the navigation, and then it builds around the box. I have to bring it in here. See? It goes around it. So it is a pretty useful system. I'll give it that. And it also sets up the navigatable area for AI. So can't hate on it. So I'll just give it like this general zone. See how it went around the door and the security camera? It's very useful. So we'll say this area right here, this is where the AI can go. I'll even make it a little bigger for it. And then move it over some. Alright. So then we'll go and we will go and do the content drawer. Now we'll go content. It's this general area. Make a new folder, right? And then we'll call this AI. And then we'll come here. Oh, are you back yet, by the way? You haven't said anything in chat, so I'm not sure. But anyway, in the meantime, go here, and then we'll use. I've never really used a behavior tree before, but you know what? No time to learn like the present. This behavior tree. Now, obviously, there's only going to be one type of AI, so let's go in here. I would have to look at the documentation of the behavior tree. Selector nodes execute their children from left to right and will stop executing its children when one of their children succeeds. If a selector child succeeds, the selector. Oh, if a selector's child succeeds, the selector succeeds. If all of the selector's children fail, the selector fails. Okay, so what it does is it goes root, selector, choose from one of these three options, just choose the first one you can do. So then in that instance, we can have a scenario where like there's three options for what it can do. Whatever's first, it'll go to do first. And if it can't do that, then it'll choose the next one. If it can't do that, it'll choose the next one. And if it can't do any of them, it'll do nothing until it goes through them again. Okay. What is this? Sequence nodes execute their children from left to right and will stop executing its children when one of their children fails, which fails, the sequence fails, the sequence fails. Okay. Last for running two children, one which must be single task with optional directors, and the other of which can be a completed subtree. Huh. Okay. Alright, we'll go with this one then. So then this comes here. Okay. Oh wow, look at it. Oh. Oh, this is very useful. Where has this been all my life? Oh wait, it's been here. I just never knew about it. Okay. Instantly finish with given result. Make noise, move directly towards, move to. Okay. So I have this. So we'll just say, for example, move to. Okay, so it goes here. This does this first. That does this. Um. Yeah, I guess so. Uh. Okay. What is it? Moves the AI pawn towards a specified actor or location Blackboard entry using the navigation system. Well, how do I do that? TUI. Run EQS query. Set tag cooldown. Oh. Environment query system query. Well, I mean, I should probably make the blueprint class first. And receive input from the controller. That's what I want. Into AI. We'll add Blackboard. What's the difference? That's a behavior tree. So I guess behavior tree. Behavior tree. And then behavior tree asset, that one. Compile. Okay. And then So now then I go back over here. First I should compile that. Then I go back over here, move to move the AI pawn towards right back here. So I guess then in the event graph I can do move to just do AI move to and compile. Probably only gonna be doing this for like another 20 minutes. And so what we can do is add AI perception, and using this. Dominant sense is definitely increases. So we'll use prediction, and then we'll use hearing and sight. So what it can do is it can see the player, it can hear the player, and it'll try to predict what the player is going to do and then act off of that. Pretty advanced AI. So should be fine. Might want to move these two special. I also want to add. So what this is it quite literally is all of the stuff that we need. Now we're going to just add a nice little sphere. Now we can say model. Quite the advanced model, if I do say so myself. But go here, scale that down a little bit, and then move it up. There we go. So I can do that. Pawn sensing on C pawn, AI 2, pawn that we see. On success, we load level instance by object reference So what this is basically saying is when you see the player, go to the player. If you successfully get to the player, then we restart. And if you don't successfully get to the player, AI move to. And we do this one. So, unsee the pawn, try to go to the pawn. If you successfully do it, restart the level. If you don't, try again. That should be fine. Except radius is pretty small. We should be fine. And I forgot to add it. No, great. I do this all the time. And then we should also add a function to the AI where it is, I think it's like every tick. So we gotta go to a bool and need to make a variable called C player. Oh, okay, you're back. Awesome. I don't know if I'm pretty late to seeing that, but you know, it is what it is. So we set C player. True. And then what we need to do is get that variable every time. Check if it's true. So you can see the player. Then do nothing if you can't see the player. So this is where we want to come at false output, which is only delegated to when the bool is false. So if you can't see the player, then move to random to location. Actually, I think this is the wrong one. Move to. Yeah, we want this one. So I'm gonna have to move this down a little bit. Why is that like all the way down? Oh, it's not. It looks way further from out here. Oh, that's because it is. What the heck? Anyway, get random location at navigatable radius. That is exactly what I wanted. Random location is the destination. Now we need to move this back. And we need to get pawn. Where is it? Not pawn owner. Looking for orange. Get location. I forget what the node is for that. I know there is one, but I forget what it is. Oh man, it matters. And radius, we'll just say 100 meters. Hmm. Um. Uh. No. Location. Oh, we could get. Hello. What are you doing? There it is. Get last update location. That's what I was looking for. See, I knew there was one. I just know what the heck it was. I can tuck this under here. Should be fine. No. Target itself is not a character movement component, therefore target must. Oh, that's why. I knew I shouldn't have made it a pawn. Class settings. It is a character. Where? There. Current class is now a character. So it does indeed have the character movement component. There we go. Alright. So every time a new frame is made, check if the pawn can see the player. If it can't, get a random location in navigatable radius supplied to this by the last known location of the character movement component, which is attached to the AI, and move to that location. Stop and lower overlap. Should work. Maybe. Maybe not. Oh, that's why. That makes a lot of sense. Gonna move it up. There we go. No, still nothing. Alright then. What if I get rid of this for now? Just for testing purposes. It's not even restarting the level. What's going on here? Is it this? I wouldn't be surprised if it was that, to be completely fair. Let's try reconnecting this. Moving. Huh. Odd. Haven't made AI in a minute, so that's surprising that this is not being cooperative. I'll probably have to look into it, read some documentation, do all that good stuff. I should be able to come back tomorrow with a nice fresh set of eyes, because I have been doing a lot of yard work today. But, you know, gotta get done, right? Alright, I'm gonna wrap up the stream here. I'll talk to you on Fiverr Chat tomorrow for me. Nighttime for you, I'm pretty sure. But I'll keep you posted, okay? I'll probably go live again tomorrow, see what goes on. In the meantime, I hope you learned a thing or two. And I'll be sure to keep you updated. Wow, your stream will stop in no longer 5? That's crazy. It's like the stop streaming button actually does what it's supposed to do.